Kate go?
Oh,
I lost you. Hold on. Where'd you go?
Is we hit Zoom.
Hello, everyone.
Happy Sunday.
And happy Sunday for those of you guys that
Oops, sorry.
hold please.
My bad,
Hold, please.
technical glitch.
Forgot to turn our volume down. For those of you guys that have been following us and the excitement of this week, we are so excited to be here for a very
Whoa.
big.
Are
What
we
happened?
still here?
Are we still here? Can you still hear us? Hey?
I can hear you. I'm here.
Our screen just went we went off and we were on, and then all of a sudden we're back. Okay. So we are so excited to be joined by none other than Kate Benjamin herself from Hauspanther, the extraordinaire, the designing queen of America, like the CATification expert in all things cats.
It gives me butterflies just looking at you right now. And the whole, I mean, the aura, obviously, of the beautifulness behind you as well, but it's just so,
Yes.
it feels so
Why,
good.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. I'm very excited to do this. We've been working on it for a while now.
I know.
Yeah.
We're way more excited than you can be,
Probably,
because this
we're
is a surprise to us, guys. So for those maybe one person that doesn't know who you are, can you give just a short intro about a little background, a little awesome, like how you became the awesomeness that you are?
Oh, why, thank you. So I am not, let's start with what I'm not. I'm not a cat behaviorist. I am not a veterinarian. I am a designer who has a lot of cats. So this sort of combination is what got me to where I am, which is a kind of odd career that I sort of created. My background is in design. I have an undergraduate in interior design. I did graduate work in graphic design and visual communication, and then I worked in product development at Arizona State University, and then I moved right into marketing and graphic design, and I actually wound up working at a children's product company called Boone Inc. And this company really specialized in ultra modern children's products. So this was around like 2005, 2006 when they were just launching. And that was when the children's product industry was saying, hey, just because you have kids doesn't mean your house has to look like a daycare. And so I was at this job and I was working with bloggers, right? This was the beginning of the sort of mommy blogger boom. And I said, wait a minute, how come nobody's asking this question about cats? Because I had a couple of cats at the time and I was not planning on having human children. And I had this design background. And so I just started writing on a blog, it was moderncat.net at the time, about cool, well-designed products for cats. And I include in that not just aesthetically pleasing, but also really functional and innovative. So well-designed things that really make your life and the cat's life better. That's sort of what my design training has taught me. That's how you look for something that is well-designed. So I created this blog, and clearly there was a market for it because people started reading it, and I started being interviewed for the media, the New York Times, USA Today, CBS Sunday Morning sent a film crew out to my house. So I was kind of on that early edge of, hey, let's not be too crazy cat lady, or at least let's change that style and that stereotype and the aesthetic around it. And I was just finding a lot of people who were like, well, everything's so ugly and I don't want it. And I would be like, wait a minute, let me show you this beautiful scratcher that you would be happy to put in your home. And now you don't have to declaw your cat or put them outside or take them back to the rescue, and they won't destroy your sofa. So I kind of made this connection between, oh, we can use design to save and to make cats' lives better. And so it was this kind of weird combination of like my experience and my skill set and my passions that sort of landed me here. And so that was like how I started it. And then, of course, along comes Jackson Galaxy, and he has this guy with this new TV show. Somebody sent me a link to like the pilot, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. He's kind of doing the same thing. We're changing the attitude about cats, right? And so then he was like, he basically was a fan. He was reading my emails before he had the show. And so he was like, we need to work together, because the two pieces, his behavior side and my design side, if he would go into people's homes and basically say, you know, you need to do this, this, and this. You need to move the litter box, hang up some shelves. And people would go, that's going to look awful. I'm not doing it. You know, and this was, 13, 14 years ago when I started. So in that time, we have changed so much. Everything has changed. You can see if everything. If you search for catification, cat shelves, anything to do with changing your home environment and giving indoor cats what they need to thrive, is really based around making it beautiful and making it aesthetically pleasing, as well as giving the cats what they need. So I really have, I'm not a behaviorist, but I've worked with a lot of behaviorists and I've done a lot of research and reading. So putting that piece together with the aesthetic, really just sort of everything went to the next level. It's like, oh, we're really understanding what cats need to thrive in this space. What is environmental enrichment, which is something that a lot of behaviorists have talked about for decades, but catification is like Jackson and it's our special take on environmental enrichment, where you say, oh, by the way, it can be aesthetically pleasing too. So
I looked up your background and kind of your history, and you said you went into visual communication. I thought that hits the nail on the head when it comes to our cats too, because they communicate so much through body language and what's helpful for their environment. It's like, oh, it was just a tick away from you should have head.
Yes, so true. Yeah, no, I mean, I just think everything, it's a unique way to sort of look at it, but it makes perfect sense, right? Their
Exactly.
cats are just so aesthetically pleasing, and and the other big thing is, if you look at dog design versus cat design, a lot of products and things you need for dogs are about being active and going out and going camping and to the dog park and hiking and, out and about. Whereas everything about a cat is about your interior, your environment, your home. And so, because that's where they stay. I mean, with the exception of the cats that go out on harnesses and, but they're coming home, and that's where they're spending the majority of their time. So I feel like there's that big difference, because some attention was being given to design in the dog world far before anybody started thinking about cat design. And so in the 13, 14 years that I've been doing this, I've seen a huge shift in small companies and big companies that make cat products, where, I mean, everything has changed. Now you can find anything you need in any aesthetic. You can find small handmade companies. Even the big boys now have modern lines and just cool things that will fit with any aesthetic. And some of them are very well designed in terms of what the cats need. So my job these days, I write about this stuff. I do a catification consultation project. I develop products. I have a line of products. These are from that line, which is a partnership with Primetime Pets based in Texas. And I've worked with them for several years to develop the Hauspanther collection, which includes perches and scratchers and beds. And so I'm kind of I come at it from all different perspectives, because as a blogger I write about all cat products, and then I have my own, and then I work with people in their homes, and I also am starting to work with shelter catification. I'm developing a program for Greater Good Charities that will help train shelters how to catify their spaces. So basically bringing in environmental enrichment, but with that extra layer of, well, let's make it look really cool. So when people come to the shelter, they'll have this wonderful experience, and they'll really think differently about the shelter, the organization, the branding, everything.
I love that so hard. Like, that is because it's amazing. Like, as humans, and I'm number one, like, I never wanted to catify our home, for instance, or for lack of a better word, I was very reluctant to do anything. It's like, no, well, we've got places for them to jump. They can jump up.
They've got a cat tree. They're fine.
They've got a cat tree. They can jump up on our shelves. They can do, but let's not build stuff. Let's not add stuff, because it'll make us look like crazy cat ladies. And yes, we trademarked the term. However, it's still, I was like, I still don't, I don't want everybody that comes into our house to think that we're crazy cat ladies. but slowly over time, it was like, okay. And when we built this, many of you guys have seen our what you call a super highway, our catwalk. It was with our friend, and Adrian was like, we have to do it. We need it for the cats. We need it for their safety, and we need it for their mental stimulation. And I was like, get it, but don't want it to be, no, like, don't want that much. And he was like, well, what if we can make it pretty and still make it usable? And I was like, well,
It's worth a shot.
yeah, it's gonna have to be this color, it's gonna have to be this, whatever. And sure, we'll see. And it turned out really well.
And it's been wonderful for our babies. I mean, it's
so great.
There, I see 1, 2, 3 paws hanging off right
And a
now,
tail.
and a big tail.
That's my favorite.
I also have to give a shout out. Sterling Tracking Davis is in the house.
what?
And he said,
Hey.
I have no idea who that beautiful woman is. And they're commenting, lies. Lies. He's also dropping stars, by the way, as is Sean. And Yizzy's dropping stars. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Can we talk briefly about why is it important to even think about, I'm talking to a lot of people lately and they're like, oh, we don't do cat trees. Oh no, we don't do vertical space. Can you speak a little bit to why it's important and how it makes a difference?
Yes, absolutely. So there are a number of things that you want to provide for indoor cats that sort of jive with their basic species typical behaviors that they need to fulfill in an interior environment, right? So now that said, every cat is different. So you have to sort of understand cats in general, and then you have to understand your cats specifically to know what do they like, what don't they like. But as Jackson talks about, you also can use environmental enrichment to push them to their challenge line. So maybe you have a cat that you think doesn't want to go vertical, but if they just don't have a way to do it. So if you give them one, that now their whole world has opened up, right? So some of those big categories, which we all kind of think about, you've got vertical space, so you've got climbing. And the reason for that is because cats are both predator and prey. If they can be up high in an environment, they can get a better look around, and they just sort of have that instinct to have this sense of what is around, what can I eat, and what's going to eat me, so like they're just kind of always checking that out. So being up high generally makes cats feel better. All of these different things are about reducing stress in cats. Now, in a shelter environment, that is absolutely critical and much more of a challenge. In a home environment, a little bit less so, because you have a generally stable population, you know who's there, but there are, of course, always things that can trigger stress in a cat. The doorbell rings, friends come over, there's a thunderstorm, whatever. You introduce a new cat. So it's always about reducing stress. So being up high makes a cat more comfortable because they can see their surroundings. The other really critical piece is having a place to hide. And so they need that sort of comfort. In a fight or flight or flee situation, a cat is almost always going to choose flee first. Fight, flight, and freeze, actually. That's the third one. So fight and flight. So they're always going to run first. Generally, you're not going to find a cat whose first instinct is to tear somebody else's face off. So they need that place to go. So again, with all of these, with vertical space as well as hiding space, you want to create something for them that is not only safe, easily accessible, aesthetically pleasing to you, and pushes them to that challenge line. So you want to have them have a space that they feel comfortable hiding in, but not under the bed or in the back of the closet. You want to sort of control where that is so you can move it out. And maybe it's a mobile cat bed that's, a covered cat bed like the cat ball. So it's something you can slowly move out so that they are in the area where you're spending time, so that they're part of the action, they're part of the family, but have reduced stress, they're in a place where they feel comfortable. So climbing, hiding, of course scratching, which is about a few different things. It's about leaving both their scent and their visual mark, as well as grooming their claws and getting that extra stretch if they're really, reaching up high to get a good scratch and a stretch. So Same thing. If you don't give them something to scratch on, they're going to find their own thing to scratch on. So they're going to destroy your furniture or whatever, your door jamb, your wall, because it's something they need to do. And so let's see, hiding. And then of course we've got litter boxes, we've got feeding dishes and fountains. Sort of all of these things are perceived by the cat as resources, right? These are things they need to survive, to feel comfortable, to reduce stress. So if you think of it that way, what does the cat need to feel comfortable, to really nurture those instincts? And then how can you do it in a way that helps them truly thrive and not just survive? So like back to what you were saying, where people are like, well, I have a cat tree, or or whatever, I don't want a cat tree, they're fine, they can just sit on the table. Well, okay, they're fine, but are they living their best life, right? That's the big thing here, is that, we love them, we live with them, we want to see their best come out. We want to see them really, just all through their entire lifespan and all the different stages, just be doing the best that they can. Like, look at who's sitting behind you looking out the window.
Friday. That's a Friday.
The black one.
I want to piggyback on top of what you said, because I think it's so incredible, and it's something that we're learning literally on a regular basis. Is our cat shirts? It's like, oh, they got so much space. You're luckier than this, Joe Blow that's sitting in the shelter somewhere. Oh, you've got a cat tree. You're a lucky cat. It's incredible to me to see, as we add things that we now recognize help them to thrive, how much they really engage, and like each cat is an individual. But even and you now know our Lindsay Robbins, who's here today. God love you. She's been, when she comes over to work, it's crazy to watch our cats. Cats engage as much as you engage with them in so many ways. Seeing the energy, how excited they get when she's coming over, how they know that they're going to get a little bit of playtime. It's incredible to see how we're trying to do all we can to give them their best lives, and then new things will pop up, or this is an awesome new CATification for them, or new quality time for them, and they cannot get enough.
But the things like the vertical space specifically, it seems like that is the one thing that they don't tire from. In our home, at least, they don't tire from that. Like they will continue to use it. I was just speaking with somebody this week who's really, really, really has been wanting to adopt a kitten for a long time, or adopt a cat for a long time. But she has, her fiance is not necessarily on board. She has 2 large breed dogs and lives in a 700 square foot apartment.
That's a lot.
She's like, do you think it's a bad idea? Now I'm second guessing myself. And my first go-to was, make sure you have the vertical space, because especially in a small place like that cat needs to be able to get away from those dogs if needed.
And integrated hiding spaces as well. So hiding spaces can be down low on the floor, and they can be up high as part of the vertical space. The other thing is, vertical space is not all up 18 inches from your ceiling. It's the entire distance from the floor to the ceiling. So we're going to talk about that some more.
Yay, yes. Oh gosh. Okay. Guys, if you guys are just jumping on and you don't know what the hell's happening here, Kate Benjamin has designed some CATification design for our home. We have one space in our living room that is basically the cat room. You call it the den, but it is where the cats hang out the most. And
favorite spot.
Pooh Bear, for those of you guys that know our sweet Pooh Bear, he is the only one that doesn't necessarily like this.
He doesn't utilize the superhighway. What he'll do is he'll go up 3 stairs over on the side that go all the way up to the windows, and then up and over and underneath the railing. Or sometimes he'll pop through the railing and just sit on the top. But
and then go back.
He will not utilize that space.
He doesn't run it like the rest of the cats do. They chase each other all the way around it. And the living room is basically Pooh Bear's room. I mean, it's everybody's room. They all hang out in there, but we have this empty wall. It's basically an empty wall. And Adrian specifically has been wanting to build something for the cats on that wall for a long time. And when she told Kate this, Kate was like, let me design it. So we don't even know what this design is, and we're gonna go through a couple more things, and then we are actually going to see it with you guys for the very first time right here live on Facebook. So I'm super excited about that.
So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
I do want to ask more things. So we talked a little bit about small spaces and how that doesn't necessarily mean just putting a shelf up 18 inches below your ceiling. It's incorporating those hiding spaces low and high and utilizing that space from floor to ceiling where you can. And obviously in a small space, it's going to be perhaps challenging, but utilizing that space, it makes it doable. What about if we are just on a budget? Because I know that I've been browsing, you know, it's like, oh, well, it's X amount for this cool cat shelf or to do this or do that. What are your thoughts on being able to catify on a budget?
Like a DIY.
Easy, totally. Anybody can do it. And like Jackson and I, our biggest thing we want people to understand is don't get overwhelmed. Don't feel like you need a huge space or a huge budget, that you can just do something, right? So the first thing you want to do is look around at what you already have and rearrange it if possible. So say you have like a shelf up above your kitchen cabinets, right? Like a pot shelf or something, and you have a cat tree and it's over here. Well, what if moving that cat tree here now gives your cat access to those pot shelves? You can clear off the clutter and now they have an easy up and down, right? Maybe you need to hang one little shelf in between to make a jump or something, but start looking at what you already have. Even if it's something like moving a table in front of a window to create a window seat, or the back of a chair, kind of like you guys have you have a window ledge there, it looks like, but then I've seen them on the back of the chairs too, right? So just really thinking about your space and thinking about what little small changes could you make to accommodate your cat. Like, do you have a shelf that is full of stuff that you really don't need? It's just collecting dust. Well, clear it off and designate it as a cat shelf. Just let go, sometimes just Marie Kondo it, right? And so use it for something that you will get a better use out of it. And so you can start that way. And then if you do need to add like a little shelf in between, there are tons of things you can purchase that range in price from very affordable to very expensive. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You can just go to the Home Depot or whatever hardware store or home improvement store you have and purchase basic shelves with sturdy brackets. Make sure that you're, attaching them to the wall well, if you can. This is, of course, in situations where, people can attach things to the wall, which is a little challenging if you rent. But it's easy to use basic materials. I do stuff at IKEA all the time. So they have this one shelf, I can't remember what the Swedish name for it is, but it's $2.49 for a decent shelf. I think it was like 21 inches, and I think they're 8 inches deep. So I use 9 inches is kind of like the minimum for like a lane that cats are gonna walk on. They're probably not gonna lounge on it, maybe a smaller cat, but it's it's about as small as you want to go, and it's exactly that size. They have brackets for 99 cents that you can attach this to the wall, and you can buy their they have little throw rugs or the bathroom mats, and you can cut those up to put on top for the non-slip surface, and for maybe $10 you could have a couple really great cat shelves.
Wow,
that is amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I love the idea too of rearranging. We know how excited our cats get when we move their cat trees around, give them a new little vantage point of their world.
Yeah.
But I never thought about it from the perspective of rearranging to give them access to something else.
Right.
I love that.
I do too.
And that's completely free. It's just
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah. You just have to kind of flip how you're thinking about things, right? Just come in with fresh eyes, and that's what I do. Is I a lot of times I go into people's houses and I say, well, have you thought about this or this? And in many cases, people can be resistant to that kind of change. But if you're committed to making this happen, you can find a way. You can find a way to make it happen beautifully.
Oh,
my
I'm
God,
so okay. I'm so excited.
Oh, we got so many folks here. I know everyone's saying hi.
Are there questions real quick?
You guys, we're going to try to do, for everyone watching on the Facebook, we're going to try to do a Q&A here towards the end. So if you have questions as we go along, please drop them, or wait to the end when we open up for Q&A and then drop them like they're hot. And Kate has graciously agreed to help us with some some Q&A today.
I'm trying to pull up the comments here. Okay. So that I have them too.
I know.
Okay, so can we get with it?
God.
Because
Okay.
I'm so excited about this.
All right. Okay, good. So the reason I wanted to do this specifically this way is so I'm going to walk everybody through sort of the quick and dirty process that we used to look at this specific space in your home and use it as an example of how people can do this in their home, right? So you don't have to hire me. You don't have to use the software that I use. You can kind of do it. I'll show you, what I did, and I'll show you easier ways to do it. But it's just sort of a mindset like we were just talking about. So this is sort of the approach that I take. All right, are we ready?
We are ready.
Oh my gosh. Baby girl, you ready? Look it. Don't leave. It's happening.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Let's see.
It looks good
I'm
on our
waiting
end. We're waiting for it to come up on Facebook. It's got a little bit of a delay.
There's always a delay. So yes, it is.
Oh, awesome.
All right. Okay, so I have a little deck here that we're going to walk through. It kind of goes through the process for I called it your TV room, your den, it's the cat room, whatever you want to call it. So I just kind of approach projects with clients. Sometimes it's one big space, sometimes it's multiple spaces, so if it's one big room and we're doing a number of different things in it, you'll see in this case, I kind of can break it down into like areas or vignettes or little sub projects within there, or I'll do a whole deck, like say we're doing a whole bunch of stuff in the kitchen and then we're doing a whole bunch of stuff in another room. You just want to break it down until you have a small enough piece to work with that you feel like I can do this and I'm just going to start and do something. So this is a relatively simple project because we just identified this one wall that you wanted to do. So I started by sending you guys some questions on email. And so I do this, it's a little different for every client, but people, if you're going to do this for yourself, can just ask themselves some kinds of questions like this. So first I needed to know about your cats, right? So I asked you to tell me about the names and ages. We kind of want to think about, does anybody have any special needs that are related to the environmental design? So specifically mobility issues, do you have any blind cats, anything else that might affect how we're designing this space? Then I asked you, what area would you like to catify? And we'll see in a second, you sent me a picture. And so I ask, if I'm remote, if I'm not going to a client's home to actually see it myself, I ask for a whole bunch of photos and videos so I can get a lay of the land, see what's going on. And we start to do this, what I was just saying, break it down. Like, are we doing this big room? Or, is this corner, what are we working on? And then we talk about, what do you want to accomplish in this area, right? Are there any specific behavior problems? Like, is this one of those hot spots like we talk about in the books where, there's always conflict here. We need to figure out a better traffic flow or something. Do you have general conflict happening between cats in your home? And you're needing to create something that helps alleviate that. More hiding spaces, more vertical spaces, something that makes them feel like they have more room to expand. They're not being threatened. Their resources are not being threatened in a multi-cat household. They all feel like they've got everything they need. So we're looking at anything like that. And then I kind of asked you on email, well, what do you picture happening in this room? Do you see the cats playing or resting? Do you think this is, do they scratch here? And then you said that you may sometimes want to watch TV in this room. So tell me a little bit more about what we talked about here in terms of your vision for this room.
Yeah. So, well, you go ahead since you had the vision.
Well, I really just kind of saw it as a way. I was thinking mainly of Pooh Bear. So we know that he is not a huge fan of like the super highway, but that is his space. Like, he is most comfortable in that space. We don't have a lot of conflict or anything like that, but I really was kind of envisioning a place that was going to be easily accessible for him. He's a big guy. Easily accessible, would have that room for him to lounge in new areas and kind of explore his the space that he's most comfortable in a different way. And
Yeah, and for me personally, I wanted him. I want him to get more exercise, and I know climbing gives him that kind of exercise. And because he's a big boy and he needs to lose a couple pounds, we're always trying to encourage exercise with him. But he's one of those that you got to like stick with all the time, kind of thing. If you're working, he's not going to be exercising, kind of thing.
And another note, Jay rarely likes watching TV, and if she does, she's usually asleep in 5 minutes. But I do also envision spending more time. I call it family time. Like have a good show, maybe Cat People or something, and then just hang out with the babies in that room and have a space, an environment that's more exciting for them as well.
Do we free?
So when Pooh Bear is in that room, where is he usually spending time?
Usually, so he's got a spot like under the cat tree, or he'll be in the cat tree, or he'll sit on the couch with us if we're actually sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Okay. So how high up the cat tree does he go?
We'll go to the top.
Okay.
We will go to the top, but it depends on who's there, I guess. Sometimes.
Yeah, if there's no one else there, he'll go up to the top, and the tall one that we have is 72 inches.
Right, but it also has it's like a 1x1 space, so his little butt is basically all that fits there. So he never really takes a nap there. He will in the shorter. We've got another cat tree that's a little bit shorter, and it's got one of those little.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
And those are open platforms that you're talking about at the top of the cat tree, not an enclosed box, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and then when you are in there watching TV or sleeping, are the cats on the sofa with you, touching you on the floor, nearby, doing their thing? What are they doing?
Yeah, so
All
I mean,
the
all
above.
of the above. So
All
when
of the
we,
above.
yeah, when we lay on the couch, we usually do have family time, and usually all of the cats come in there and they find their spots. The younger ones will usually get in the cat trees, and the older Twist and Pooh Bear will get on the couch with us. But then they kind of move around and they'll come snuggle, or they'll. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So see what I did here. It's we're kind of picturing what the space could look like and how it works for both the cats and the humans, right? So a big part of my design training was what's called user-centered design, right? Which you would think, well, duh, but the design has to be based on what the users need, and as opposed to some fancy designer sitting in an ivory tower coming up with something that is completely unrealistic. Nobody's ever going to use it, right? So this concept of really looking at ergonomics and what functionality and space planning and all of that. So you see some of that starting to come through in here, and it's easy for anybody to just sort of think this way. It's design thinking, but it really gets at who the users are. And in this case, there are two different users, the humans and the cats, and they both have different needs. But you can also, in this space, you can think about, well, how do they come together? You know, maybe everybody wants to sit on the sofa, but there isn't enough room. So wouldn't it be nice if there were more options for them to be nearby, but not on top of you? So it kind of helps picture what this could be like, because you're envisioning the design, you're envisioning what you want to accomplish. So that's kind of where we were going there.
I love it.
So they sent me this picture and said, this is the room and this is the wall in particular that we think has great potential for catification, which is awesome. So I, of course, said, well, can we move that bookshelf, and can we move that? And then I didn't, and there were a few other questions I did not ask you. I just took liberties, which you will see. But in general, okay, cool. I see the size of the room. The sofa, the TV placement, we won't mess with that. There's a fireplace. There's some certain things that can't change. We've got the windows, the door, and then you can kind of just sort of see what's potential. So then I asked, I always ask clients, what is your decorating style? And are there any particular catification items that you already have that you love or that you don't love? So, what are your colors? What style furniture? What style is the house in general? What does the catification look like? So they sent me some of these photos, kind of giving me a feel for, I do love this color palette with the blacks and the purples and the blues against this sort of taupe wall. And then I saw that you have white baseboards, and then you chose to do all of the catification elements that are in your living room in this beautiful crisp white. So that was very important. That will come into play. then next I sent you a diagram because I couldn't go to your house. If I'm there, I do all the measurements, but if I'm working with somebody remotely, I kind of say, here are the measurements I need. And you guys were amazing about filling this out and sending it back. So far in the process, how did you have any considerations? Like what happened? Was this all easy?
It was very
It was.
easy. I mean, it was, you had
The
it.
measuring was the hardest part, for sure.
No, time gets, it wasn't hard.
I was being facetious.
Oh, but you had it spelled out so well. I do
Yeah.
have to say, when I first looked at this, I was like, what are we measuring? And then I was like, oh, that must be the couch. Oh, that's the fireplace. Oh, okay, I get it. So
We were
I
like,
should have labeled that.
huge.
yeah, we were like, wow, our couch is huge.
It is, right? Until you really look at things in plan. So you have plenty of room for cats on that couch. All right, so armed with this information that I got from you, I looked at that space and I came up with
Oh my God.
Stop. I was so hoping, Kate, that you would do something in that corner right next to the fireplace too.
Oh
my God. I love
This is
this.
Pooh Bear's new paradise.
Yes.
Right here. Look at that.
so.
Did you see it?
Oh my God, love it. Trish said, I love it.
Oh, and you have it over here on this side too, so we can technically get rid of both of the cat trees.
We could.
That was the goal. All right, let me walk you through some of these details. So, as I said, the superhighway is not always up at the ceiling. It can be at every height. And when you've got somebody like Pooh Bear, I love low shelves that get them up off the floor, but they're at what I call petting height, right? They're just right there. And it's special for them. The other thing this does is it gets everything up off the floor because you guys can attach things to the walls. We are going to take advantage of that and reduce the clutter, because that clutter on the floor is hard to clean. It gathers the cat hair. It can also, if somebody is having sort of heightened anxiety, if the cats are feeling a little stressed, those kinds of cluttery spaces on the floor can create an ambush zone, right? I don't know if you've ever seen that happen. And I'm not saying don't have anything on the floor. This is looking extra clean.
I am so excited about taking things off the floor.
Oh, everyone's like,
very
amazing.
excited. I know, everybody's
Sign me
like,
up. Oh my God, so
eyes
cool.
just
Wow,
welled
so
up with
pretty.
happy tears.
See here, she said amazing. Amazing.
Okay, so let's look at it a little bit more in depth. So this is it in plan. So you can now see we're wrapping around. Now you have things on top of your mantle, which fine, this can be sort of a superhighway that stops and starts, unless you want to clear off that mantle and make it part of the superhighway, or if they're just going to do it for you, you might as well be proactive. So we'll think about that. That's up to you. I never try to force a client into, like, you don't have to do this, but your cats may do it for you. So this is how it looks in plan. So we have this really nice wrap around here. Going back to the main wall, you can see as you come around the corner from the hallway, there's at the bottom of the ramp, there's like what I call like a landing pad, right? So instead of just jumping right onto the ramp, there's sort of a place where they stop. And this would be a custom piece that you work with the same person who did your shelves in the living room. So I used the same brackets that he did in there so that we can sort of tie the two together with a theme. They look the same. I love the idea of flowing with the same design, the same concept, the same look from one room to the next. It makes it a more cohesive experience of walking through the house. So we're coming up to a level that's just sort of clearing that that vent there and going all the way to the back wall. So it is just a long shelf for hanging out, for climbing. And then what we've used above it, and we come back to this one, the new Armor Cat line of wall products. That's what these all are on this side of the room. So They come in a natural plywood. So I would say we could paint them so that they're all white. So we have this whole white thing going on with the baseboards, with the shelves in the other room. And I looked very closely at this line and I recreated them in the 3D model. They have two different boxes. One that's more of a cube. It's actually 14 by 14 by 12 inches deep. And then there's one that's a little bit longer. It's, I think, 16 by 12 by 12. So there's two different size boxes, and they both have an indent at the top. So you could put there, I think it comes with a little like a fleece mat or something, and it stays in there. So you've got a bed on the top. They both have holes on the sides and in the front as a lookout. These come in sets, and one of the sets includes a shelf that's kind of like a box. It has a lip on all four sides, so the cats are sort of hidden down in it when they're sitting on it. And the other shelf, which is the one that's right over at the side, around, coming from the hallway, it does not have a lip on the front edge. So I love to use two different shelves like this in different situations. So back here, see how this shelf is at a height where a cat might jump on and off from the front, from the floor onto it. So you wouldn't want a lip at the front of that shelf. But these shelves up here, this one and the one in the corner, they're probably going to jump onto that from a different direction, or coming down onto it, so they can settle in a little bit more. So I just am always sort of playing with which type of shelf is more appropriate in each situation. They also have these scratching posts that are covered in sisal that come straight out from the wall, so they create steps. So they can walk up those, and that's what we're doing here. We're walking up those steps to the box bed, and then they can either go directly into that top cube or they can go on top of it. So what's happening here is we're creating a multi-lane superhighway. You have the floor, you have the low shelf, and then you have all of the things up above. And in that sort of landscape up above, there are various ways somebody could go. Somebody could go from that box shelf into the cube. They could go to the top of the cube. And if you look closely, you can see that they all sort of interact. And the other piece is this long scratcher that attaches horizontally or vertically to the wall, and cats can walk across it and scratch on it. I really like it horizontally. That's how they sort of seem to be marketing it on their website. So I created a flow of traffic that has just really I think about, from when I'm designing a superhighway like this, from any point on the superhighway, I think about which directions can and will the cat go in order to make them all accessible and safe. So the only one that the middle box with the hole, that would be a long jump out, so that's more of a lookout. But otherwise, cats can always go to the top of the cube or into the cube and around. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have no doubt that Jack will jump from the top of that box to the couch.
Oh yeah.
All the way to the couch. Okay, fine.
So,
all right, well, let's look at the end of the room then. So this is looking at the fireplace, obviously. So that's where the two cat trees are. So cat trees, because they sit on the floor, they just take up a lot more space physically, visually. They're just heavier. So if you can use shelves or anything that's mounted to the wall, you'll have this sort of lighter, clearer space. Now, I'm not saying, like I said, it's not like you don't want to have anything on the floor. If you want to put a hideaway or a bed on the floor under those shelves, great. That's great. I would just always encourage people to keep it simple, so it's easy to clean, it's easy to move, it doesn't create that sort of energy trapping situation. So here we have these lower shelves that act as a step up to that larger shelf. Those are all 12 inches deep, so they are kind of nice and loungy. And then instead of the cat tree under the window, we have this two-level sort of L shape. and I can see cats hanging out underneath that shelf there, you know, where the one dot goes underneath. And this corner features the Hauspanther collection from
Yes.
Oh,
So two of the pieces that are behind me, we have a couple of the nest perches, and then the catch-all. So the catch-all, which is over there on the right, is a scratcher. It's also a little perch on top, and you lift the lid, and it has storage inside for toys.
Really?
Yes.
are you, what?
Yes, because my theory is if I'm going to ask you to put holes in the wall, it better be for a good reason. So let's get as much function out of it as we can. So yeah, there's one right here. Mark, would you demonstrate the catch-all? My husband will show us.
Beautiful assistant.
See? There. See? Is there anything?
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
There.
No, there's nothing
Okay.
in here.
And there's, you're standing in front of us.
Hide some of their-
So yeah, there we go. Yes. Okay.
Oh my God.
That's
So all of my pieces come with a carpet attached that's very similar to what you have on the shelves in the living room. So that's this. I highly recommend this for non-slip surfaces. Do you guys like it on those shelves?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is an indoor-outdoor, or maybe it's just called outdoor marine carpet. It's available in giant rolls at Home Depot. They're 6 feet wide, 12 feet wide, and then you buy it by the foot. Or you can kind of look in the back of Home Depot, and sometimes they have pre-cut pieces like 8 by 10, 5 by 7 already rolled up and sort of standing in a bin, like with all the other carpets. It is great because this is it's a non-woven carpet, right? So it's more like felt, which means you can cut it with scissors and it doesn't fray,
Right.
right? So it's like the way it's manufactured is like a punched sort of situation. As opposed to regular traditional carpet, you cut it and then, you know, the edges fray, the yarns come off. So it's super easy to cut with scissors. You can stick it down with double-sided tape, and it's cheap, but looks good. And so that means when it gets worn out or gross or somebody barfs on it, you can just replace it.
Yep.
Cut a new piece, right?
Easy
So,
to get down. We actually used a nail gun
oh, you did? Okay.
to put it up.
Some of them have double-sided tape though too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you put it on the
Yeah.
corners.
Yeah, a nail gun's going to be more permanent, a little bit harder to pick up, but certainly doable. And Jack is modeling the carpet very nicely here for us. So
Just Jack.
just Jack. So we will we'll kind of trick out this whole corner here, but again, it continues the theme of the custom shelves over to this side because I'm a sucker for symmetry. So we got some things aren't exactly symmetrical, but we've got a little bit going on there.
It
I
was
really
so
like
perfect. Oh my God,
Really like
Kate, that is so
It's that ramp that gets
Amazing.
me.
I love the ramp, right? And so here are a couple things. I was saying how you could put something on the floor. So Armor Cat actually has in that same collection this cute little hideaway scratcher thing. So, you know, if you do want some lower hideaway things, these would be great. And then that's my Cubitat on the right. So it's a 2-story cat bed, the hideaway underneath, a little perch on top. So it's finding something like this that can then kind of have 1 or 2 of these on the floor for those cats that really do like to be down low. And we all know cats like different things, different times of day, different times of year, they change. So that is your transformation from
Oh my God.
Oh
Look
my
at
God.
that. You are incredible.
Yes, absolutely incredible. This is going to be really fun. Now that, especially now that we can see it, that's always the hard part, right? Is
Having
like
a
we can
vision.
envision something, but you really need somebody beautiful like you to be able to show it to you to where you'd be like, where I am now like, oh my God, I totally want to do that. And I feel like it's going to make the room so much cleaner. In fact, instead of more busy, which it's a whole lot more cat stuff than we currently have in there, it still is a whole
you're
lot
eliminating
cleaner.
2 cat trees.
Yeah, we're going to take away the cat trees.
The
The
clutter.
floor is going to be easier to clean because moving all
Shelf.
the other things. But yeah, those carpet covered cat trees are so always hard to clean. And so really like opening
She's already
it up.
looking in there like, oh
I know.
my God,
I'm
it's
like,
gonna
oh
look
my
so good.
So obviously I use SketchUp, which is a 3D modeling program, and then I use a rendering program to create these images that I'm showing you. So that is a specialized skill that I don't expect every cat owner to be able to do. But one thing you can do is take blue painter's tape, like that, that comes at the store, and so. You just clear off your space and start to put that tape on the wall. So you've seen me do it. I think Jackson's done it. And you can mark it out and really kind of get a feel, measure what's the distance from the, vertically, horizontally. And here I've created distances that are sort of my standard. Yes, a cat can jump really far, but you don't always want to make them do that. So my sort of rule of thumb, which I write about in one of the books, is that when a cat is standing up, sort of the next level should be about at their eye level, or because if you've seen a cat try to jump on the bed and they're not sure what's up there or up onto anything, onto the sofa, and they're like, is something up there going to ambush me? And they kind of hesitate. Yeah. Think like that. You want them to feel comfortable going to the next level. So there's some steps and jumps here that are a little smaller. So for instance, going up those sisal poles with the cat heads on the front, those are a little closer, a little shallower, because that's less of a surface for them to grip on. But when they're jumping from that box bed up to the top of that cube, they're on a more stable surface as long as it's attached to the wall really well. So that's going to be, it can be a little bit higher. So you're kind of, as you put the tape on the wall, you can sort of start to visualize. The tricky part is visualizing the third dimension. So how far things are coming off the wall, because that really affects the relationship from one surface to the next. So, maybe you can mock it up with some cardboard you have lying around, cut something out that's about the shape of the shelf you're going to make or you're going to buy, and kind of hold it up on the wall. And I just think in 3 dimensions. I just always have, which is why I was in interior design as an undergraduate. And so it lends itself well. And I think that a lot of other people might find that they think in 3 dimensions too, but you've never really tried it because you've never been in a course or a job that asked you to do that. So challenge yourself to really, think in a new way and to think like a cat. Like we always say, Jackson and I always say, you've got to think like a cat. From any point on that superhighway, where are they going to go? And if you say, well, I don't want them to go up there, but they could, well, that's the first place they're going to go. So just know that. So you either have to make a conscious decision to make it clearly inaccessible so that there's just no way. There's no, you don't want them on the top of this bookcase or something. There's nothing that's even close, the closest thing is 10 feet away. They're not going to jump. Or you have a physical barrier that you're adding to the top of that bookshelf that is going to prevent them from jumping. We did that on one of the episodes of My Cat from Hell in Austin, where there were Savannah cats that were jumping onto the range hood, and it was like in the middle of the kitchen island, had this floating range hood, and they were like shaking it, and it was like gonna fall out of the ceiling. So we built a big superhighway for them all the way around the perimeter of the room, and then I put up, the owner was very picky and had fantastic taste, and the place was gorgeous. So we made it kind of like art. We used orange plexiglass panels. Do you remember that one? It was early on. I can't remember what season it was. And I built basically this cat guard around it. And they have to test it once. So I will admit, there was one, whoop, bang, okay, we won't do that again. Because they would climb to the top of the cabinets, and then they would jump over to the range hood. And so they learned, and then they didn't do it again, and it looked really cool. So sometimes you actually have to create a barrier. So I mean, there's a lot. I can talk about this for days, but
what I'm thinking is we get rid of even the table and everything off the mantle, and then we also, while we're doing this, we custom build a sofa table for the back end of the couch there. And
Yep.
that's where we can put our candles and our plant and, you know, the other, our Alexa or whatever, like this stuff that, you know, that we
Oh,
have.
I
in
see
the-
what you're saying.
You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, but we basically get rid of all the furniture except for the couch in that room. And then, you know, build a little table where we can put the aesthetically, you know, the whatever.
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, which of course they're going to want to use that table then too.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course. So, but you need to have your things that somewhere, right? So yeah, you're sort of always running into that sort of issue of, is it a cat space? Is it a human space? You know, let's compromise. So yeah, no, I love the idea of a sofa table, something back there, and maybe it has a lower shelf,
Yes.
and that's cat.
Yes.
You know, so they're just, again, slightly up off the floor, like a big long one. And you could custom build it. There's probably a bunch of things at IKEA, different stores, that fit the bill. You know, so that bottom shelf is just empty, or maybe you put a couple cat beds on there. And that's the thing too about adding. You could add soft hideaways, beds, things like that on these shelves. One of the problems we run into, particularly at shelters, is that no thought is given to what those blankets look like or those beds. So you kind of want to pick your color palette. So you have this sort of taupe wall and the mauve and the purple, black, blue. So, you know, just as you would anywhere else in your house, you know, pick things that fit with the color scheme and with the decor that work really well on there without cluttering it up. And you can also run the gray carpet on the long shelves if you think it's necessary, or on you could add it to any of the other pieces from Armor Cat as well.
Wow, that's so cool. Oh my God, Kay, I love you so much.
This ramp is just mind blowing to me. And I love that. I really think that those little scratcher steps are going to be a huge hit for our little acrobat.
Oh,
cats
yeah,
for the
right?
younger core.
Yeah.
And probably even Oliver. Oliver has been so feisty lately and just having a great time. It's going to be such an adventure for them with plenty of room to lounge. And Pooh Bear, I think he's gonna love it.
Oh my God, he's totally gonna love it. I'm seeing him right over here.
Because honestly, do you know that one picture that you showed where it kind of showed the stairs going up?
Yeah.
That showed the white brackets, which you so beautifully incorporate
I
here.
know.
I really think that that's what keeps him from going up and down. That he's a bigger boy and it's not comfortably spaced enough for him.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is okay, but I think that like that ramp, that wide open. Oh my God, he's gonna love it.
Oh yeah.
This is amazing.
And then that's Jack on the lookout. So I just noticed my cats around our house, where there are certain spots that they will, like certain cats will sit because they have a view into every room, right? You've seen that happen.
Uh-huh.
So they're doing the lookout, or they're at a place where they can look around that corner. And so I was picturing that there, that's somebody is gonna see who's coming down the hallway. I'm in charge. This is sort of my central lookout point.
Yeah.
Over
there, yeah.
Well used.
Oh,
space,
wow.
for sure.
Oh my goodness,
Kate,
Kate
this is amazing.
Benjamin, this is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
Bring JB. Yeah, let me bring JB. Let's have Jeremiah Bean Dip say hi. He's here.
Oh,
Okay,
yes,
yeah,
please. And if you guys have questions, you
wanna-
guys drop them. We got a couple minutes left.
I'm gonna stop sharing here.
I was gonna say, if you want to stop sharing your screen, then we can see.
Then we
we
can
can
see
see-
JB.
Yes. Oh,
Hey,
there he is.
my
Oh,
Bean Dip.
Hey.
Baby
While
Javis.
people are thinking of any questions they want to ask, tell everybody about Jeremiah.
Let me see. Jeremiah Bean Dip was my first bottle baby, so he stayed. Along with his two brothers, Pico de Gato and Horatio Queso. This is my husband, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Hello.
So they're about two and a half now. He doesn't come here very often. We are at the studio, and so he's very excited and interested in looking around and exploring. They do have their own Instagram at Jeremiah Bean Dip, and they are the love of my life. Sorry. He's very squirmy right now.
Yeah.
But he's good. I try to bring him down here so that he will come for photos and things, because I do photography down here at the studio. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, baby.
You're so funny.
Oh my God, Keisha's here. She said, "What did I miss?" Keisha, girl,
Oh my
I
goodness.
love you so much.
Trish
Huge
said,
reveal.
"Oh man, the clean look and how she designed it for easy cleaning. I can't love this anymore." Sean said, "I can't wait to see it in their videos." Brooke said, "Where do you get all these materials?" Well, we
So-
kind of went over that.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, so in this case, we did a combination because you already had somebody who you've worked with, who you really like, who built the shelves in the living room. So that's another question I always ask clients at first. Do you have a builder that you love, or are you a builder? Are you a DIY person? You know, is this something you're going to do yourself? And in that case, are we going to do custom, completely custom, or are there any pre-made pieces that you want to integrate? So like my shelves, the Armor Cat shelves, there's so many companies that make great stuff. I have it all on hauspanther.com, and I'm just constantly updating it with whatever new comes out. So you can either buy everything, build everything, or do a combination of the two. And that's what you said you were open to it. And then we had also talked about the Armor Cat. You were like, hey, we're supposed to be checking this out. So I looked at their stuff and I saw the new line and I was like, this works. This is great. They did a good job here. And so I haven't seen it in person yet, so I can't really say how sturdy it is, but it looks decent, and I'm assuming we can paint it. So I think those are cool. I think those could be really helpful in a lot of catification projects. And then mine, of course, have a lot of built-in cat features already. So yeah, materials, if you're just going to DIY it, IKEA. I love them. I don't get paid by them. I should. I spend a lot of money
That's a
there.
question, I think about your pieces here. She said, "Are the scratcher pads on the sides replaceable?" I think she's talking about the ones.
Yes. Yes, so those are held on with Velcro, and we do. I think we have. I have to see where they're online to purchase. But yeah, that they were designed, and the toys also come off. The toys have a hook because the toys get destroyed instantly, and so I actually make some handmade versions here that have cardboard that are super sturdy. So my handmade ones, they're on shop.hauspanther.com. They have a clip on them, so they work on these, but they work on anything that has a hook. So I really think that the ability to replace scratch pads, to replace toys, to replace the non-slip pads on top is so critical in a cat piece. So I always give more points to products that allow you to replace those things because they are consumables by cats, but you want the piece to last longer. You don't have to throw the whole thing in the trash. So that's something to really think about when you're looking at a cat shelf. Maybe spend a little bit more because it has replaceable pieces.
Yeah, that is a really good point. Naomi, our sweet Marcella, is here. She said, "This is so cool. I love it. Thank you for sharing this." She's also the one that helped us catify with the One Fast Cat Wheel.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I love those.
Is love.
Becky said if you paint those, you need to use special paint. So when we painted our shelves, we used it was the same paint or the same color at least as the baseboards.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a non-toxic paint. I can't remember what it's called.
It's a water soluble.
But it's a non-toxic paint. But we still let it dry like for days before we brought it into the house just to be on the safe side.
Now for shelter environments, so for a lot of the shelter designs I've been working on lately, if something is going to be built out of plywood or wood, that's a porous surface, so generally not going to be great in a shelter situation. But the groups I've worked with, like Rescue Rebuild, if you use 3 or 4 coats of a non-toxic paint, and then 3 or 4 coats of a clear polyurethane on top. So if you have water-based polyurethane, that's what we use because it's non-toxic once it's dry. And so yes, if you have a lot of cats in a very high traffic area and it needs to be thoroughly sanitized like in a shelter situation, I definitely recommend multiple coats of paint with the polyurethane. Now in a residential situation, you might be able to get away with just a few coats of paint. You might have to touch it up every few years or so. But yes, something that's non-toxic, water-based, and fully cured before it comes in the house.
And Becky commented, she said, that's what sucks about cat trees. Once the material is done, the whole piece has to go.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to dispose of a large cat tree is a pain in the butt.
So
Speak
for
to
those
us-
of you guys that do not know, Lindsay has pinned Kate's website, Hauspanther, here in the comments right now. So if you guys are interested in any of these pieces, you can click that link.
Well, yeah, Kate, speak to that a little bit too, because I know people are looking like, where do we get this stuff? Your website, hauspanther.com, is really an oasis to be able to expand people's minds. Speak a little bit, first of all, about how you come up with what qualifies as something that's good for our babies.
Oh, that's a very good question.
How
So,
you-
yeah, so I really think about good design, as I said at the beginning, in sort of the two areas. Is it functional and innovative, and does it help make the cats' lives better, as well as aesthetically pleasing? So I tend to, I'm looking for whatever's new, whatever's different, whatever's sort of busting that beige carpet covered cat tower aesthetic. And there, I mean, I've found so much over the years, but ideally things that are sturdy, durable, affordable, easy to clean, sort of streamlined. They have these replaceable parts, and a lot of stuff, you know, kind of tends more towards like fine furniture, you know. So it really is well constructed. It just has cat details, right? So something that makes it really function well for the cat. And I feel like, I don't know, there's just sort of a sense that you get when you see something. You're like, oh, they nailed it. This is good. You know, so there's a lot of companies that are just really fantastic at what they do. Clearly run by and designed by cat people, right? I can immediately spot a cat product that was just churned out of a factory where there were no cat people and no cats. Because it's just, the scale is off, the durability is off. Now, some of those things are super affordable. Sometimes I post them with a caveat, you know, like, you know, if this is all you can afford, get one of these. You know, if you just have one small cat, that's not going to destroy it. So I try to post a whole range. So everything from, you know, super affordable things, DIY ideas, all the way to $8,000 cat towers from Germany, which are exquisite. But people sometimes, you know, leave comments that are like, do you know how many cats you can feed for $8,000? Yes, I do. What I'm doing by showing the whole range of everything is just showing you what's possible, right? So just be inspired by it. If you can't buy that $8,000 cat tree, I can't either. Just say, wow, but look what they did here, and it's beautiful, and maybe I can create something that's similar. We're not looking to knock anybody off. I want everyone to do their thing. But just be inspired by everything that's out there, and to find what works for you, or to create it yourself.
Yeah. I love
so
that.
much.
And getting ideas for DIY stuff. Also, I want to say, for people that may have missed that little tidbit, your blog on your website is also a wonderful rabbit hole to go down. Very informative, very informed. Where else can people find you and your babies?
So housepanther.com is sort of the main hub, and it really is like an online, you know, repository for everything to do with cats and design. So not just furniture and scratchers and litter boxes, but also cool cat art and photography and fashion and home decor and stuff. So it's just sort of everything around like celebrating cats in this new way that so many people are really embracing, you know, the new cat lady and man and all cat people, right? I don't want to exclude anybody. So that's housepanther.com. And then I have an online store, shop.housepanther.com, which is linked to from the main website, where I sell my products with Primetime Pets, as well as a number of handmade products that I make here in my Phoenix studio, because I'm constantly experimenting, trying new things, coming up with new designs, maybe making a small production run, things that are exclusive, not available anywhere else. Because I'm a maker, I have to make. I have like 5 sewing machines over there, and all sorts of stuff. And then everywhere on social media, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, and TikTok, all at Hauspanther, Hauspanther.com, because the German spelling is a little tip of the hat to the Bauhaus, the German Bauhaus, which was sort of the birthplace of modern design. And then, of course, the Hauspanther is our term of endearment for black house cats, which I then extend to all house cats. But black ones are my favorite.
Oh my
I
God,
love
thank
it so
you.
much.
Thank you
I-
so much for being here. Are there any, I mean,
I
know
cannot
there's
believe what you did with our space.
seriously
And
though,
I know-
I'm so excited about the ramp. I want to get on it right away. Can you send us that
That picture, the
the-
thing.
So I'm
Yeah.
going to send you, so this is what I always do with my clients. You'll get an entire PDF with everything you saw, but I'm also, now that I know you like it, I'll go back and I'll put in my recommended dimensions. So distances between things, depth of shelves that have to be custom made, all of those things. And then generally when you bring somebody in to install all of the pre-made pieces, all of the custom pieces, I'm available to sort of work with them. If they hit a snag, they're like, oh, there's no stud here, I need to move this over, what can we do? And so then we sort of adjust it on the fly. But my recommendations are based on my experience and what I know works for cats. So
Oh, yay. Oh my God. I am
You're
so excited.
amazing. You're
I want to have this
inspiring.
done before Super Zoo. I
Well,
want to
let's-
do
let's
it
call
right
it Luvo.
now.
We'll see.
all right.
This is
Cool.
so inspiring. I hope
Yes.
everyone here is inspired in some way. And I love that you said too, like, this is huge, this is amazing. But I love that when we think about how to better enhance our cats' environments, like just a small things. Look at what we have.
Yeah.
What can we start with? Let's just add one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Obviously you just gave us the whole carnival, but this is amazing. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Yes. Thank
Love
you
it.
so much for all of the work you do, and especially for the work that you did today with us.
Oh, you
Yeah.
guys.
So I guess it's going to wrap up this one. We will be live in our VIP group, guys, at 3 p.m. Pacific time for a giveaway, and just
Spirit fingers.
hands. And then again on YouTube at 4:30 for our podcast, and we're going to be discussing more about this catification project and how excited we are on our podcast today. So do come join us there. Kate, thank you so much.
There's a
once
question.
again.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Wait. So many thank yous. People are inspired. This is awesome.
Can we
Yay.
hire Kate for these
Can we hire?
of projects in our home?
You can contact me through Hauspanther. There's a contact us page. I'm pretty backed up right now with catification projects, but I can talk to you about what you need and maybe put you on the list. So I'm booked out for a little while, but yes, I can try to work you in.
I love you so
Yay.
much. We are so lucky.
You're our
Thank
favorite.
you for-
You're our favorite.
Thank you
Mwah.
for
We
this
love
today.
Love you guys.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, guys. Mwah.
Love
Happy
you.
Sunday.
Thank you guys. We'll see you soon.